Daf Tzadi Amud Beis will begin Tzadi Amud Aleph, the Mishnah at the bottom. Hamaitzi kupas haroichlim, if a person takes out a box full of spices. So as we'll see in Taisus, the case is that the box has separate compartments and different spices in the different compartments. So if he's maitzi kupas haroichlim, afal pi sheyesh ba minim harbe, even though there are different types. There's different types of these spices over here. He's only chayav one chatas, even though he's essentially carrying out many items, because there's different compartments, he's only chayav one chatas. Taisus asks the question, well, of course he's chayav only one chatas. Where's pshita? Even if he would be maitzi, and be maitzi again, if a person takes out something, and he carries again, and he takes, if it's behelamachas, if he didn't realize between each carrying that he was chayav chatas, he's only chayav one chatas. So certainly over here, he takes this box that has separate compartments, different spices. Certainly he should only be chayav one. Taisus answers in the first teretz that we're talking where he became aware of one of the spices, meaning it was a box full of different spices, different compartments. He took out the box, then he was informed, oh, there was spice A over there, this type of spice, and became aware of that, so he's chayav chatas. And then only afterwards he became aware, oh, there was also this other spice over there. So you might think that it's as if he became in two halamas, became aware between each one, and he should be chayav two. Kamash malan, that it's one hoitzah, it's carrying one item. We consider this all as one item. It's one box and different spices, different compartments, but it's one box, so it's one act of haitzah, and therefore, even if he became aware became aware of one spice, and then only afterwards, the second spice, he's only chayav one chatas. Zirani gina pachs mikagreiras. Zirani gina, the seeds that are used to plant in the garden, then it's not the shear is not a groigers. Normally for items of food, the shear for haitzah, that's choshev, is a groigers, a dried fig. Over here, however, since this is used for planting, then it has a special chashivas, and even if it's less than the shear of a groigers. How much less? It's not clear, it doesn't say. However, most of the Rishonim say that it's certainly not less than a kazayas. It has to be a minimum of kazayas. So that's the sheet of the Tanakama that is supposed to be Chamisha. He says for five seeds is choshev, and he's chayav for 5 seeds. The zera kishuin, if the zera is for cucumbers, then it has more chashivas than it's shnaim. Even if it's 2. Zera diluim gurds a shnaim, also 2. Zera pula mitzri, the Egyptian bean, shnaim, it's also he's chayav for 2. Hamaitzi chagav chai tohor kolshu. If a person takes out a chagav, a grasshopper chai, which is alive, it's a tohor. If it's tohor, it's a kolshu. It's even a minimal amount. Why is that so? That is because in those days they used to use it as toys for the little kids. The kids used to play with it, so it has chashivas, even if it's a small, minimal size. But maize, kigregris. If it's maize, then it's not used as a toy, and then it's used as a food item. We're talking over here where this is mutabachila, where it's tohar. So the shear as a food item is kigregris. Siper is kromim. Literally, it's called a bird of the vines, but the most translated as locusts. Bein chaya, bein mesa, kolshu. Whether it's alive or whether it's not, the shear is a kolshu. Why is the shear a kolshu? Why does it have the chashivas? Shemasino isel refuah, because it's hid away for refuah. Rav Yehuda Omer af hamaitzi chagav chai tome kolshu. Rav Yehuda says that, going back to the case of the chagav, he says even if it's maitzi chagav chai tome, even if it's tome, it's also kolshu. It's a shamatzni, because they keep it away for a toy, for a cotton. Meaning, so therefore, according to the Tanakama, it's only, we'll see in the Gemara, we'll explain that it's only if it's tohar that it's used as a toy. Rav Yehuda says, even if it's tome, it's also used for a toy. So when it's chai, That's the machlokes. Or Chacham say it's only if it's Torah. Rabbi Yehuda says even if it's Tomei. So going back to the Reisha, the Mishnah, Frek the Gemara, V'riminu zevel v'chol hadakadei lezavel kelach shel kruv divrei Rebbe Akiva, v'chachamim oimrim kedei. The Chacham say the shir is kedei lezavel kreisha. So Rebbe Akiva says the amount of the zevel v'chol hadak is to fertilize a stalk of a cabbage, and Chacham say for a leek. But al kaponim, what do you see? That you see even one seed is choshev. You see even one seed is choshev because the shear of fertilizer is to fertilize even one seed. So why in the Reisha of the Mishnah we're saying that the shear is certainly more than one? We're saying in the Reisha of the Mishnah that the shear for the Yisroim, Zeroina Gina Pachos Mikin Gregorus, where Yudah says Chamisha, Zer Kishu Mishnayim, Zer Dilu Mishnayim. So you see Zera Kishu and Diluin Ishnaim, and here we say by the fertilizer, we say that it's Kedei Zavel Kelach Shel Kruv, even one. Amar Papa answers, Ha Dizriya, Ha Delay Zriya. Lafi Shein Adam Terech Leitzia Nimachas Lizriya. Like we said before in several places, that one seed has chashivas. But a person is not going to bother to plant one seed. If he's planting already, he's not going to take out one. He'll take out more than one. Plant 2 seeds, 5 seeds. So depending what type of seeds we're talking, Zerek Yishu and Shnaim, Zerek Dilum Shnaim. Even Zerek Yishu and Diluim, he will not make the effort to plant it for only one. He'll plant 2. But once it's planted, it has chashivas. So for Zeval, the shear for Zevel is even to fertilize that one seed, because once it's planted already, so it's a davar choshev. He went through the tirach already. Even now one is choshev, so the shear for Zevel and Chol is even one kelach shel kruv or kreisha. Zerek Yishu in Ton Rabban, we learned in the Brisa Maitzi Garinim. If a person takes out date pits, Im Linatia, if it's for planting, Shtaim, the shear is 2, that's choshev. Im La'achila, if it's for eating, it's Kamali Pi Chazer. To fill the mouth of a Chazer, V'kama Mali Pi Chazer, Achas, it's 1. Im Lahasik, if he's using it for fuel, to use it to burn, Kedei Levashel Beya Kala. It's enough to cook the Beya of a Tarnagailas. Im Lecheshben, sometimes they used to use pits as tokens. If they wanted to count, instead of taking out money, if they wanted to make a cheshbon, how much one person owes the other person, they use it by means of a token. They use these garinim. How much is that? Shtaim. Acher mamim chomesh, they say 5. Ton rabbanan amaitzi shnei nimim mizon of asus. If a person takes out 2 hairs from the zon of asus, mizon of a para, or from the tail of a cow, chayav. He's chayav even for 2. What are these 2 hairs from the tail? What are they used for? Shemasni noisa lenishvin, because they use it to trap for the traps, for the nets, for trap birds. They use these hairs. Maksha shel chazer, from the tail, from the Rashi says on the hard part of the shedra of the chazer, achas, even 1. So the Rashi says that they use it for stitching, and some say it's for leather workers or shoemakers that use it for stitching. They use this hard part of it as to use it as a needle for sewing. Suri dekel shtaim. The suri dekel is from the palm trees. They use the branches, the peeled branches over there, 2 of them, because Rashi says they use it on the loom for the shtei batinirim, and they used to make the loops where they used to pass the threads of the chassis through them, the rings rather. They used to use it from the tzuri dekel. Turi dekel, what's turi dekel? Rashi says they're even finer, they're more dark, they're not as coarse, they're not as thick, they're thinner than the tzuri dekel. The turi dekel, achas, they use it, even 1 has chashivas. What is that used for? So that is used, Rashi says lo yadati, but the Miri says that it's used as a whip. that they use as a whip for to when they're riding the horses. Taisus points out that when we say what if it's for oichel, that the garinim, if it's la'achilas kamali pi chazer, Taisus says that for oichel, for a chazer, a yid, it's also for him to gadol chazer. So why would the chashivas of it be for oichel, the mali pi chazer? So Taisus says because you can give it to an oivil kechavim, or sell it to him. You can, so therefore it has that chashivas. But of course, for the Yisrael, it's also legadol chazer, so we don't mean that he uses it for his personal use, but he can sell it to a goy, so therefore it has value. Tziporas kramim ben chaya ben mesa kolshu. So we say the locusts, whether they're alive or not, is a kolshu. Why is it a kolshu? Because the Mishnah says, "Matzini noisel l'rafua." My tziporas kramim amara palyaberi. What is a tziporas kramim? It's this type of locust, palyaberi. Amara abaya mishtaka bedikla dechad nemara. Where do you find this? You find it on a young palm tree that only has wrapped around it one sieve, one bast, palm bast wrapped around it. Va'avtile lechochma, and it can be used to become a chacham. How is that? Achalele palaga diyamina. He eats the palaga diyamina, half on the right side. Upalaga the smaller ramale begufsa denachsha. And on the left, he puts it seals it in a tube, a copper tube. And he seals it with 60 seals. And he puts it on his left arm. And the siman is leiv chacham liyaminai, v'leiv ksil l'smala. The leiv ksil is on the left. And so here he wants to make himself a chacham. So on his left side, he takes this and he wraps it to his left side, and this, Rashi says, makes him a chacham. It's Paiseh Halev, and it gives him this wisdom. The chacham comes to boy, and he learns and he becomes as wise as he can. The gomer comes to boy, and he learns and he becomes a chacham. Then he eats the other half. The Eloi Me'aka Talmuda, because if not, he'll forget his learning. Rabbi Yehuda says that even if he's Maitzi a Chag of Chai Tome, he's called Shu, because also Matzni Noisa for a cotton to use it for a toy, for a plaything. The Tanakama Sava Eloi. But the Tanakama holds that no, it's only a Chag of Tor. It's only when it would be a Tor, but a Chag of Chai Tome, not. My time, why not? Because they wouldn't use the tome for a toy because the cotton might eat it. He might eat it, so therefore they would not give it to him as a toy. So Rashi says, and even if you hold that a cotton that is based in ein bezin mitzuvin la'afrisha, that the cotton archel nevelos ein bezin mitzuvin la'afrisha, they do not have to take it away from him, but they wouldn't feed it to him. You can't. It's still also to feed him, to give him something that's also ba'achila. So therefore, they would not have this as a toy because the cotton might eat it. Well, if that's the case, then even if it's tohar, it should still be a problem, because even though it's mutter ba'achila, however, the harav kahana hava kon kamidarav hava kamava shushif pume. So he was in front of Rav, and he took this. It's a type of chag of tohar, and it was alive, and he put it on his mouth. Amarle shakle. So Rav told him to take it away, take it out of your mouth. Why? People shouldn't think, even though you're playing with it, people shouldn't think you're eating it. And it's bal tashaksu, it's something that's disgusting to eat it alive. To eat a live chagav is bal tashaksu. So therefore you can't say the concern is that the cotton will eat it, because if the concern is that he'll eat it, then you'll have even the cases that if it's tohar, We should also be concerned, even though there's no Isser Achila per se, but there's still an Isser Baal Teshaksu. So you can't say that the Isser is that by Chagav, that if it's Tomei, that it's not used as a toy because he'll come to eat it, because then if it's even Torah, he'll come to eat it. Ella, the Gemara says, no, the concern is not that he'll eat it when it's alive. The concern is that it might die, and once it died, he'll already come to eat it. So, Chagav Chai Tahor, the Chamsei, there would be given to the child as a toy. If it's alive, he'll play with it, and he won't eat it. And if it dies, then it's Torah, it's Motor Ba'achila, so there's no problem. And even if you hold that Kotan, Oichel Nevelos, and Biz, and Mesum Hafrishim Yisura, but we wouldn't give him a dime something Yisur, so a Chagav that is Tomei, they would not give it as a toy, because even though he won't eat it when it's alive, but it might die, and it's Tomei, so we won't give it to him. So therefore the Chacham say that if it's a Chagav Chai Tor, it's a kolshu, because that was used as a toy and be given to the cotton, and therefore it has chashivas. If it's Tomei, they wouldn't give it to the cotton as a toy, and therefore the shear of, we don't say that it's Chai kolshu if it's Tomei. But Rav Yehuda he holds no. Imayas cotton mispits off it like Rav Yehuda says that no, if it dies, he is not going to eat it, because he makes a hesped on it. That's his toy, his pet. It's his toy, it's his pet. He's not going to eat it. So therefore, Rav Yehuda says, even if it's tomei, they would use it as a toy, and there's no concern that he'll eat it. He won't eat it when it's alive. And even if it's mace, it's also not a problem. He won't come to eat it because he'll make a hesped. So therefore, when it's alive, it's used as a toy. So therefore, Rav Yehuda says, if it's a Chagav Chai, whether it's Torah or Tomei, this shear is a kolshu, because in both cases it'll be used as a pet for the cotton. Hadran lacham Rabbi Kiva, Hadran lacham Rabbi Kiva, Hadran lacham Rabbi Kiva. Masnila zer ledugma l'refua v'ayitzi b'Shabbos chayev v'cholshu. Chol adam ein chayev v'lav kishiur.